Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice Channel with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where you can count on the trusted performance of Allevo seed treatment to protect your soybean crop. Well, a reminder, the Jackson County Regional Livestock Market will have a bred cow sale this Friday, November 21st, 6 p.m., jcrlm.com, your livestock authority. Well, it's time now for our weekly update from the Ohio Soybean Council.
Joining me today is Dr. Laura Lindsay, OSU Extension soybean and small grain specialist. And Laura, as you take a look, I know with Battle of the Belt, a lot of research done on planting date and which to plant first. This year, did it seem like soybeans benefited from that earlier planting date across the board, or not necessarily?
Yeah, our data is still rolling in. Corn's still out there. We're not completely harvested on the Battle for the Belt on the corn side. Soybean, though, we planted as early as March 27th in Wood County, and there was a small yield penalty of about 5 bushels compared to a mid-April planting date. But then going into those later planting dates, there were quite a bit of a yield reduction compared to that mid-April date, and only 5 bushels on that March 27th side. But extremely low plant populations when we plant that early. So planting date seemed really important in Northwest Ohio in particular this year. And right around that mid-April seemed to be the ideal time.
Very interesting. Again, my guest today is Dr. Laura Lindsay, OSU Extension soybean and small grain specialist, taking a look back at this past growing season and some of the yield results. Dr. Lindsay, thanks so much for your time today.
Yep, thank you.
And today's update is brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff.
As the federal government reopens, farmers say the temporary extension of the 2018 Farm Bill offers little relief from rising costs and growing uncertainty. President Trump's signature restored funding for USDA, but the farm law that underpins crop insurance, conservation programs, and disaster aid is only renewed short term. American Soybean Association President Caleb Ragland said reopening the government is only a first step and urged Congress to advance regulations and trade efforts that support demand. Although focused on topsoil moisture, the USDA's latest report in that category instead has an emphasis on where soils have little moisture.
The next to last look at the nation's topsoil moisture conditions show
the impact of some of that expanding autumn drought that has pushed more than 40% of the country into drought by mid-November.
With USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey reporting that on November 16th,
you're seeing 44% of the country reporting short to very short topsoil moisture. That's 3 percentage points higher than this time last year when we were also dealing with a significant autumn drought.
Several Midwestern states record over 50% very short to short topsoil moisture, while over 80% very short to short conditions are noted in some southern states. Topsoil moisture shortage also reflects drought conditions in the Great Plains.
Really not much to talk about on the wet side of the equation at this point in the season. We'd like to start seeing some replenishing of soil moisture, but we just haven't seen that to a great degree except recently in the far west. As of November 16th, though, we see just 3% of the country reporting topsoil moisture surplus. That is 4 points below this time a year ago when that number stood at 7%.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
According to a new report by the South China Morning Post, rising tensions between the United States and China are deepening financial and emotional strain across farm country as growers confront falling crop prices, high operating costs, and a wave of bankruptcies. Farmers interviewed said promised Chinese soybean purchases touted by the president fall far short of the volume once relied upon. The markets, they're next.
Nearly 90% of farmers say that financial worries, constantly changing market conditions, and other uncontrollable variables take a toll on their mental well-being. Add in the weather and family dynamics, well, it's a lot to handle alone. But did you know farmers and their families can receive free confidential services from licensed professionals? Support is available 24/7 to help with the challenges you face. Look for Farm Family Wellness Alliance under the Resources tab at farmfoundation.org. Take care of yourself. Your well-being matters.
So many things that can have an impact on agriculture are out of the farmer's control. Yet when the weather doesn't cooperate, markets go lower, or equipment breaks down, the farmer blames themselves. Hi, I am Nathan Brown, a Highland County farmer and a member of the Ohio Farm Bureau Board of Trustees. If you or someone you know is struggling with stress on the farm, text 4HOPE to 741-741 or go visit gotyourbackohio.org. A message from the Ohio Farm Bureau Federation.
The market's brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. At the Board of Trade, December corn 426.5 down 3 1/4. March corn 437 3/4 down 3 3/4. January beans 1122.5 down 13 3/4. March beans $11.32 down 12.5. December wheat 527 down 9 3/4. At the Mercantile Exchange, December cattle 214.72 down $1.57. December hogs 79.47 up 62 cents. January feeder cattle 316.37 down $5.07. This is the Ohio AgNet.